we were leaving church one day, and my husband actually hit a man's cart. The man was pushing the cart hard at work, and my husband hit the man's cart and was going to go about his business like nothing happened.
Yeah,
and I was
did the guy complain?
shocked.
They make me shine.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another beautiful episode of
Mr. and Mrs. Godfrey. Hey, y'all. Why you pause?
Yeah, because I see that a lot of you love Brian too much, because I'm seeing their comments on the last episode where they're saying, oh, he's such a cute boy, he's such an intelligent boy.
Well, man.
I've been here for how many episodes? Nobody have said all these good things. What you're thinking is right. I'm jealous. Yeah, I'm jealous. Yeah. Because, anyways, welcome again. That episode is just like, you guys love that. We're gonna bring everybody. I've said, bring Brian back. Yes, the hashtag, bring Brian back. Bring Brian back. Okay, so I'm just.
He just made it up.
Yeah.
But you guys have commented that you want us to bring him back, so he will definitely be back more regularly. Maybe once in a while. Yeah,
once in a month.
We'll
Because he's doing school, he's doing football, he's doing other things.
He's a busy boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what's this episode about, baby? Or you want me to tell them?
Yeah, but first, thank you for subscribing.
Housekeeping.
Go ahead.
No, you do the housekeeping, then I'll tell them what
Okay,
this episode
so thank you for now. Listen, we're beginning to have some people that we know right now on the comment section, because some of you have been consistent with your comments, and we want to build that relationship with you where we know you, you know us, and like we said, one of the episodes, or one day we're gonna get live. We'll let you know on time so that we can just sort of connect. You know what I'm saying? But share. There's joy in sharing. Sharing is caring. Yeah. Subscribe. Like. And
comment.
Turn on your.
and turn on your post notifications.
And then comment. Make sure you comment and share to your family. This is beautiful because we are not just having fun. This is family. We're not just having fun, but we're also learning a lot from our experience. We want to also hear your opinion about some of the things that we'll talk about, what your experiences are. But today.
So today is another installment of cultural differences, and this video is going to be about the culture shock I experienced when I visited Nigeria.
First, I'm not sure, even if I've shared it before, I want to just tell you how her coming to Nigeria was. It felt, the first time we came to Nigeria, it felt it was planned, but it wasn't planned. Whilst we're still, I don't know what I was dating.
It was planned. We just weren't dating when you invited me.
Yeah, so we're not dating. Now, what I mean, it was not planned. It felt like it was immediately after I proposed to you that you came to Nigeria. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't planned that way.
No, we had planned it since October, but we weren't yet dating or engaged.
Because I know the future and I can see the future and I'm a prophet.
I knew, as a friend.
I knew that at one point she's going to be in Nigeria, and it's going to be that time I would have proposed, but we're not even dating, and I bought her ticket. I told her,
did it by faith.
Hallelujah. Would you love to be in Nigeria? Would you love to visit Africa? I've always wanted to be in Nigeria. I come to Nigeria. And interestingly, she attends a Nigerian church, so I want to be in Nigeria. I've been planning to do that, and I said, okay, what if I buy you a ticket? I said, oh wow, that would be cool. Now, there was no strings attached. I told her we don't have to date, nothing. I just want to buy you a ticket to visit Nigeria. Whether I'm there or not, I just want to have a good time. Guess what? This was in October, November, December, January I proposed.
And then a week or week and a half later, I was in Nigeria.
Yeah, and we bought the tickets as though we planned that after proposal, she was going to be in Nigeria. Hallelujah. Praise God. This is the man of God.
So that's what this episode is about. So when he invited me, I was super excited, and I had never been, but I had like just ideas of things that I expected just from what I'd heard from my friends. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try suya and everything's so cheap, so I'm just gonna buy a lot of clothes. And people say you're gonna lose weight, because the food is so organic and fresh. So I'm looking forward to all these things.
Because here, let me not talk about here. I'm gonna continue because Nigeria.
You'll have his own episode. I'll do my own episode where I talk about we moved to the US. So yeah, I've made a short list of things that shocked me when I visited Nigeria, and number one on the top of the list, I'm sure a few of you can guess it. It was the traffic. Like
no, that's
literally.
not number one. I thought that's number one. But when you landed at the airport. But the airport.
Okay, let's talk about the airport. So the airport, it was hot. But it was kind of what I expected to an extent.
Yeah, it's because we know you're coming from a place that is cold. So we'll try to make our airport very hot.
So help me to adjust.
Yeah, just adjust quickly.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Nigeria.
Thank you, Nigeria.
And then, did anybody tell you, sister, find me something?
So he's trying to tell my story for me. He's on my list.
Okay.
And he's not supposed to be on my list. But since he brought it up, even though that's not the first thing I put on my list, I'm going to go ahead and speak to that now. I was shocked at how many people asked me for money in Nigeria. And not just at the airport. Even though at the airport, it was like my very first experience because you come into the airport, and I'm not gonna say where it happened. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble, but it's just like, I don't even have any Naira yet. Like, I just have US dollars, and of course they'll take that too. But it was
Can I give you the reason? Because I'm gonna explain why everything happened.
Well, let me finish first, then you can explain. Okay. So it happened at the airport. It happened when we were driving. It happened when we visited like rest stops, and it was kind of overwhelming. Even though it happens here in the States, it's not as frequent, and you kind of feel.
Wait, it happens in the US?
It does. Like in the DMV where I'm from, like people are panhandling all the time, like on the side of the road or outside of stores. People, because the economy is hard everywhere. So I'm not, downing people, but it is kind of intense because, especially if you don't have any money. So yeah, that was something that shocked me. Now you said you wanted to say why.
Yeah, my response and reason, please, fellow Nigeria, please accept this. This is what I think. The Bible says, like we have always said here, that there is joy in sharing. So when you come into our country, we want you to share what you have.
I did not expect you to say that was it.
And everybody wants to just get, because the more you give, the more you get.
I do believe in that.
So we're a Christian country. We're a Christian country. So when people say, in Nigeria, people greet you and want you to pay for greeting. Hey, boss, come on, boss, we salute. Hey, Sean, boss.
And
then the moment they say all those things, they'll say,
if I have to pay for
boss. Yeah. So we're just trying to make sure that we follow.
Follow that Christian principle.
Want you to prosper. So we'll ask you to get from us. Don't misunderstand.
That makes sense.
You cannot, Nigerians, you don't say peace. Peace.
But like I said, not downing anybody, but that was kind of like a shock from the time I got there to the time I left. Through the airport, back through the airport. It was like, okay, something to get used to. But as I was starting, the first thing I would have started with was the traffic. Like, there are no traffic rules, and if they are, nobody follows them. Like, nobody obeys the stop signs, barely obey the stop lights. There are people standing in the middle of the street sometimes trying to direct traffic, and people are just doing whatever they want to do. And it's so surprising that I didn't see more accidents. Like, I did see one accident where 2 cars got into an accident, and my husband was like, they're about to clear that pretty soon. Like, I guess there's no car insurance really in Nigeria. Like, it's not really nobody really gets car insurance. So if you have a car accident, it's kind of like we're going to fuss at each other and then we're going to keep it moving. Versus here in the States, it's a whole thing. It's a whole process you have to go through filing a claim. And so, that was a shock for me. We were leaving church one day, and my husband actually hit a man's cart. The man was pushing the cart hard at work. And my husband hit the man's cart and was going to go about his business like nothing happened.
but
And I was
did the guy complain?
shocked. Like, the guy gave you the strongest side I've ever seen.
And
like,
then he moved
the
on,
guy
right?
looked like he wanted to fight my husband. Yeah, he did move on, but it was so crazy. Like, you just hit this man's cart, and he almost hit some people another time.
Wait,
they
okay,
were
finish.
crossing the street. We were driving, and he got so close on them as they were walking across the street. And when I tell you guys, I was so offended. Like, why would you do that? You know, like, people were walking across the street. It would take you 5 seconds to let them walk across the street. Like, that was so unnecessarily aggressive. And he's like, that's not what we do here in Nigeria. We don't just walk across the street like that. And, you know, you're from a place where it's different and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, in my mind, just full of transparency, I was kind of like, dang, is this his character? You know, like, wow, that was mean. And he later explained to me that the norms are just different in Nigeria. You want to speak to either of those
I want to
incidents?
respond to that. I want to respond to that. So first, you know, just for those of you that the Americans or maybe Europeans watching this, in Nigeria, people, like, I've been hit so many times, and I don't even come down from my car. There's no need, because it's 100% possible that the person will not be able to, get your car done for you. So why waste your time? People, I know you're going to speak about the honking part, but everything is it's normal in our eyes. Like, you drive, you know, here in America, you know, I think when you want to cross the road, the car stops very well. But I mean, why are you crossing
In Nigeria,
Lagos?
you're playing chicken.
In Lagos,
You better run.
excuse me, in Lagos, you have to move because everybody's moving fast. Everybody's somehow in a hurry.
Yeah.
If you miss out any slightest timing, you might get caught in traffic. So everything is on a very high pace. And when I remember that day I was driving, this guy was walking slowly on the road. They were just gisting and all of those things. And the person saw me coming. And maybe the person thought that,
In the States, the pedestrians have the right of way, though. So maybe they were American. Maybe they assumed
maybe
they had the
they
right
knew that
of
you were
way.
in the car, so they said, okay, let's live the American life for her to see. And I was never going to hit
was
her, by
going
the
to
way,
hit them.
but
If I
I just
didn't say
wanted
anything,
you know that feeling as a Nigerian where you say, let me just scratch them small scratch. Let them just get small scratch by the side, you know. And I was not going to, and that, I remember that day, I think for 2 hours or 3 hours.
I was upset with
Yeah,
her.
I was upset too, because I was saying, why is she trying to, this is Nigeria. I mean, I never even thought that, I really didn't think that anything, I was not going to hit them, honestly, because I've never hit anybody before. I mean, what I mean, the
Other
human
than the
being.
guy with the car. Oh,
No,
okay.
I hit the cat, not the human
Oh,
being.
okay, got you.
Yeah, and the guy was getting in my way, and I felt like, get out, and he was forcing himself, and I just moved, and just small tapping.
I think he might even knock the wheel off the car.
It was just small tapping, and then everybody moves on. Listen, the thing happened, everybody moves on. And the guys that was crossing the road, they know that if I'm not a child of God, somebody else would have hit them already. Jesus. There is nothing, it is normal. And also, you know, talking about people, insurance and all of those things. I mean, okay, let me not get into that. But in Nigeria, it is, when she talked about rules, I remember you asking me one time, are there no lines on the road?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
no one uses their traffic signals, and when I say traffic, I'm speaking of just general driving, but also the traffic itself. Like, we went to the airport one time, and the airport from our house is like, what, 45 minutes or something?
Yeah,
we were in traffic for 4 or 5 hours. That blew my mind. Like, I went to sleep, woke up, and we were still in traffic. So when I say traffic, it's all encompassing of just like the general way people drive in Nigeria, and also being stuck in actual like rush hour traffic.
The same way you have issues of security everywhere in the world, our own is different. So at night, some people don't want to stop for red light because you might stop and somebody stops you and all of that. So there is this urgency, there's this
of like not getting caught
of not
on the
getting
road.
messed up. So you want to move very fast. You're checking, you're looking at things. Now the fast pace is the fast pace that we also do when we enjoy life. So this whole fast pace covers every area. So it's not like it's something. I mean, you want to experience it if you're an American. You want to experience that whole fast. People drive. People. We don't try to look at the mirror too much before you turn to the other side of the lane or something.
I haven't been in New York a lot, but I'm wondering, is it kind of like New York driving? I've heard that New York driving is like really fast.
No, this one is faster. This one is intense.
No, not the same.
Yeah, this one is.
I don't think there's
fast,
any country that drives like Nigeria.
God has created us in a way that our brains work very fast. So if you're coming on this lane and I'm coming on this lane and I want to get into this lane, the moment I'm ahead of you, you should know that you should stop because I'm not going to wait for you to give me space to enter. I just enter because I know you're going to stop. And then if by any chance we hit ourselves, we'll come down. Just talk a little bit, shout a little bit, and then, then sometimes we become friends, and I've seen people get married like that. Hallelujah. So everything has its own advantage and peace.
Okay, so it's actually anxiety inducing. I did not drive in Nigeria, but when I tell you each and every time I got into the car, I was stressed out. I'm telling you
But I told you that it was only normal. Like I'm driving the normal kind of driving and she's already, oh my God, she will step on the brake. She would do like this. She would do the
I was trying to help him. It was a lot. But yeah, so that's my number one. So the next thing that shocked me, cultural shock, is how early the city woke up. And maybe it's because like where the house is, I want to say it was like maybe we got up at like 5:30 one morning and people were up. Like the equivalent of maybe 7 or 8 a.m. here in the States. Like it was live. People were awake. And that's actually something that was like beautiful to see. It's like, dang, this is a country of hustlers. Like y'all get up and y'all get to it, And it was a shock, but it was just kind of like, okay, Nigeria, I see you. Because the house was in what, Lekki?
Lekki, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So Lekki,
that's actually a beautiful thing. Let me tell you, Nigerians, I just respect Nigerians. We work very hard. Now, 5:30 is maybe, that's not when people wake up as early as 3:34. And people get, I literally get sometimes on the road 4:30 and I'm seeing so many cars already driving and moving very fast. One is to beat traffic. Two, just people start early. And then actually it will close late because I remember in Nigeria I used to work, leave, get to the office. I remember one time we were doing Fearless. We started rehearsals at 6:30 in the morning and closed 6:30 in the evening, 12 hours. We work that hard. Nigerians are the most industrious people ever. They're industrious, they're smart, they're intelligent, they are hardworking, they are fierce.
Yeah.
Well, they are very, very gifted.
Yeah.
So it was just normal. And sometimes at 12 o'clock, especially Lagos is almost like New York, like you're saying. Like it's like the city that never sleeps. So by 12:31, people are still driving on Lekki Express. People are still driving. In fact, I don't know whether Lekki Express ever gets quiet. People are always moving around. People are always doing stuff, and we don't.
Maybe like 11 p.m. sometimes it's kind of light, but it's never empty.
I promise you, if you're a Nigerian, listen to you. I mean, if you live in Lekki or Lagos, you know that at 11 p.m. sometimes there's traffic. I have experienced.
I'm just thinking of like the times we had to take me back to Dr. Austin's house and like 11 p.m.
You know my house.
It's just like one or two lights. Yeah, it's one stop light.
That's not much.
It's true.
Just one light. Just you are there. But if you truly, I remember one Sunday afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon in that Lekki area. People were in traffic after they left church till the next morning. Some people got home around 1 a.m. People got home around 2 a.m. Some people left their car. I have seen people that are going for wedding, and that broke my heart. I saw the woman because the traffic was crazy. I remember we were going for an event. The lady came down with her whites and everything, got into a bike.
Was it the KK?
No, that's a bike. Kekemara is different from the normal.
It's not the same.
Okada.
Okay.
There's Okada, there's Kekemara.
Why didn't I ride any of those when I was there?
You couldn't stay with me driving, then you get into an Okada?
Yes, we could have parked somewhere and it's like how you scooters in the States, like you rent the
It's not the same thing, baby.
But it's the experience.
Baby, it's not the same.
I wanted to get the experience.
You're gonna feel it's insane. I promise. I've seen people get out from bikes, get out from their cars during wedding, and I see everybody, the bridegroom, the groomsmen, every bridesmaid, I don't know what it's called. Yeah, they all jump on a bike and they are rushing to the wedding and all of those things. So everything, I've seen people, big, solid, rich men going to the embassy to go and get their stuff, and then traffic, they come down from their Range Rover or their whatever car and take a bike. So traffic is really a lifestyle.
Car once they get out of it?
maybe they have a driver.
Okay.
Or you park somewhere.
Gotcha.
Or sometimes the traffic is bad. People just leave the car there and just go.
So that makes the traffic worse.
Yeah, it makes it worse.
Great
And guess
idea.
what? Sometimes, I mean, a few Nigerians have experienced this. Sometimes you get to the end of the traffic and discover that there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, it was just a lot of people.
I just call it that maybe some demon, they just stay in that place and just say, let's rest more here. And after they just go, oh, we're late, let's rush. And then they don't give space, everything just, you're wondering, what caused this traffic?
The amount of people on the road.
Either way, we are being very successful and we're working hard and we're making it happen. Shout out to all Nigerians. Peace.
Amen. Amen. So I have a few more things. The next thing was how cheap the goods and labor were. Like, you told me average house rent is how much? Like $1,500 a year?
Yeah, if you live in Lekki, right now, you're going to get, their housing is getting expensive now though, but if you, like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom is what? 1,500? Yeah,
For a
or
year.
less for a year.
That to me was
for a year,
mind blowing
for a
because
2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, yeah.
a 1-bedroom in some neighborhoods, a studio is $1,500 for a month. So when I heard that, I was like, dang, we might need to, move to Nigeria, stack our bread for like a year or two.
Let's move to Nigeria.
And then do some things. Because even like the labor, like to have house help and a cook, it's a few $100s a month. And that was amazing to me. Like, I really wish that was something that the states could adopt because it makes life easier. Like if you get up and you're getting to it, and you're making a decent living, you can be pretty comfortable, in Nigeria, depending on what you do.
I think
work.
that's the reason for that. And again, shout out to Nigerians. This is also very special for me because of we have too many people. To be honest, the government have not done a very good job. Politicians have not done a very good job. So you don't have so much jobs available. So people do whatever they have to do to survive. You see people out of the university graduates, they're just doing some crazy stuff just to survive. So, I mean, labor is cheap. That's not because these guys are not intelligent. It's just because there are no jobs. So you see people that are either doing, I was once a houseboy. So you see people being house girls and house boys,
like doing
house
odd
help
jobs.
and doing odd jobs and just trying to survive whatever it just takes because you just want to just survive. So I think it's a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because these guys could have been doing so well. It's a good thing because sometimes it feels like it's cheap if you're coming from other parts of the world. But let's not forget that some of the things you enjoy here in America, we don't have it there in Nigeria. So, I mean, there are reasons why these things are, I mean, you guys can also share your own take on it, but I mean, I know labor is really cheap, things are really cheap, but, in our eyes in Nigeria, it is quite expensive because of
and
the
expensive
funds.
is relative
Because of
the
the kind
economy
of where
there.
the economy and where the money is. So whilst you think that it's cheap, it's not cheap because what you pay for house rent here is crazy. What we pay for house rent there is
It's
cheaper.
crazy, but it's still crazy.
It's still crazy in
to-
our eyes because of the where the naira is and all of those things. So it's not really cheap if you live in Nigeria and you earn in Nigeria.
Yeah.
It is not cheap. But people do anything and all of those guys working hard, all of those guys trying to do odd jobs to just survive. Big shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
I believe that I pray for you guys if you're watching,
Yeah.
if you're any of those people, that God will just come through for you because
enlarge your territory. Give
but
you
that's
greater reach,
that's very true.
influence.
That's very true.
Yeah. So the last one, and we kind of touched on this in one of our other videos, but it was a lack of familiar foods. Now I said how like Grace was an amazing cook. So like if I wanted pepper
By the way, Grace
soup,
was my house help and stuff, yeah.
So if I wanted pepper soup or if I wanted chicken stew, rice, plantain, like, any of the traditional Nigerian dishes, I could get it in the house and it was great, delicious. But sometimes, me being an American girl, I would crave Chick-fil-A or a decent burger or even pizza. Pizza is actually my favorite food. And it was kind of hard to find. And of course, you're not going to find Chick-fil-A in Nigeria. But even like the burger, we ordered burgers late at night once. And I said, very specifically what I wanted on my burger. And when I got my burger, it had other things on it. It was nothing like what I ordered. And I was like, maybe this was a mistake. We actually ordered it a second time and it came the same way. And I was just like, I don't understand. You know, like, it's one thing if you don't have those ingredients and you let me know, but it's a totally different thing if I pay for one thing and you give me something else. Like, I feel like that's disrespectful. And the burger, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't what I expected. And I ordered French fries and got yam. I did. And I don't mind yam. I eat yam. But that's not what I asked for. So it just kind of threw me.
The one I think we talked about it before. How about
Congo.
the one in Congo? Yeah.
I was pregnant then. And it brought me to tears because we ordered food at the hotel. I was like, I can't do this. The eggs were runny. They weren't even cooked. So we're not talking about Nigeria right now. We're talking about Congo. The eggs were runny. They didn't have croissants. They ran out, so I didn't get croissants.
I didn't know
they didn't have any more turkey bacon, even though it was on the menu and I ordered it. They ran out. So what made me cry was I didn't know that all these things had run out until they brought the food to the room. So anyway, that, like I said, that has nothing to do with Nigeria. But back to Nigeria, even though you guys have amazing food, and the same for like Nigerians. When you go abroad, you're familiar with certain types of foods and you can have a craving, for certain types of foods. And if you don't find it, it's hard. And like, I'm a foodie. Like, food is one of my love languages. So it kind of like was putting me in a little bit of a bad mood even when I was in Nigeria, because I'm like, I'm still hungry, like I want something very specific to eat and I can't find it. So that was a bit of a culture shock. But in all of that, with all of those things, always like to look on the bright side, flip around. When I tell you I had an amazing time in Nigeria, I mean that from like the bottom of my heart. Like, I actually want to go back this year, but since my daughter is so young, we're not gonna go for probably like a year or two. I'm not sure. Whenever my husband says we can go, y'all convince him to let me go.
I'll be going on their behalf.
But but it was an amazing experience. People asked me what it was like, and the way I described it was kind of like in the States when I was growing up, before like the internet became what it was. Everything just felt like really nostalgic, like it felt like kind of like home. It's hard to explain it, but it felt like if you have, and this is for Americans, if you have relatives who live in the South and you go to their house for the summer, and it's not the same as you experience in the city. So it's not like, TVs everywhere, and not saying there are no TVs in Nigeria. I'm just talking about a feeling. It just felt really like homey and warm. I don't know how to describe it perfectly, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it because it was a different pace. I enjoyed it because, like my husband said, he was bringing me back home. I felt like as a Black American, I was reconnecting, to a part of like myself and my heritage that like I of course don't get in the US. So even though I experienced culture shock my first time, and with the food stuff, it was kind of like every time I went, I did enjoy my time in Nigeria. I loved it, actually.
Yeah, I think that, everybody, like you said, everybody, you travel to any country, you're going to struggle with the food if it's not the food that you're used to. But the beautiful thing about Nigerian food is 90% of it, if not 100% of it, is organic. Like, they're real, rich, healthy food. And I always say, and I'm going to face American food when I talk about my own experience here, but I always say Nigerian food we have food.
He says it's America's full of snacks.
Yeah, we eat food. We have food. We enjoy food. There is a difference between food and what do you get when you want to start eating? What do they call that first? Appetizer. So what they have in America, and I'm going to talk about is appetizer. What they call food is appetizer. What we have is food. It's like when God created the world, He said, America, you have appetizer, Nigeria, you have food. And then enjoy food. So we eat food, and this food...
Like pizza in the States is a meal. He says pizza is a snack. Like, me and Brian can order a pizza, like on a Friday or something. Like, all right, let's just order pizza. Let's not cook. Let's not, make it super complicated. But I didn't have to think of something else for him because his mind will not accept food as being a meal. Like, he struggles with it's okay.
How come pizza be food? Wait, let me get to my
Said,
I shall expose all of these things, but I mean pretty much I mean she tried. Like, my wife really she eats a lot of Nigerian food, like so much so 80%. That she eats more spicy stuff than some Nigerians.
Oh yeah, I love spicy food.
Like, she one of her best food those days was pepper soup, suya. Then she now went to banga soup and eforiro, and she loves all of those food. Now, my wife is trying gradually. One of the things we're going to do in one of the episodes we're going to do is that I'm going to write Nigerian names for her to pronounce. I'm looking forward to
I think I do very well with it now.
Yeah, but let's wait until they tell us what it's going to be. But I mean, food is good. I think. Let me think if there's anything that.
I want to speak to that food being organic. The assumption that I had going was that the food be organic and you're gonna lose weight. For me, it was a little bit different, and I tell people how yes, I gained weight when I got pregnant, but I also gained weight after I got married, because when I went to Nigeria for our traditional wedding, my husband was working a lot, which meant that I was at home. So I didn't experience that weight loss. I actually gained weight because I wasn't active. I used to love going to the gym. Like, I would go to the gym like 3, maybe 4 times a week when we first met. But when I went to Nigeria, I kind of fell off, because there was no gym. So I'm still looking forward to that experience in Nigeria where I go one weight and come back smaller.
No, but the thing is, if you live in Nigeria and get into the everyday life in Nigeria,
like you're active and moving around.
Because when you leave home very early, come back home late, you don't even have time to eat properly, different things.
Yeah.
It's just
and when you do eat, it's organic good food. Yeah.
It's not somebody that'll tell your body to start going down, because your body will say, what is going on? Everything is looking, because you're going to work longer. Yeah. Even if you don't work longer, like some places, I remember when I lived in a place where you sleep with your generator on, because there's no electricity, no power supply from what we call it NEPA. Then, so whilst you think...
That's another one. Go ahead, finish.
Go ahead.
No. Whilst you think...
Whilst you think you're resting, you're not truly resting. Like, big shout out, like, this gets me very emotional. Big shout out to Nigerians. Listen, we know what it is to survive. Because in those neighborhoods, I remember that you turn on your gen. Everybody will now turn on their gen. Like, you have like 10 houses by this side, 10 houses by this side, and you have 10 generators at the same time on. Now, for some of us, our gen is not that loud. Do you know what I mean? But your neighbor's gen is very, very loud. And then the moment everybody turns on their gen, and guess what? With that whole noise, you're just trying to catch 4 or 5 hours sleep. Now, your brain is working hard, trying to push the noise away so that you can have a good sleep. So when you wake up, sometimes you're even tired in the morning to rush off to work again and all of those things. So these are some of the...
So that's where the weight loss comes from, just like...
Listen, there's no way you live in that kind of pressure. But then, there's other part where our foods are very strong too, like the semo, the pounded yam, the eba. By the time you eat all of them, especially when you get back home late in the night, around 10, 11, you're eating that. After eating that, the food has not even digested, you have slept. So all the food will be like this. You'll say,
your body's fighting the food.
They're dancing. By the time you wake up, your tummy is just coming up gradually. That's why almost all of us, all the bros, it looks like our tummy is will not go down. Because
there's some things that cause weight loss and some things that cause weight gain.
Yeah, you can't just think that because you're in Nigeria you lose weight. No, you have to still walk around it. You can't just do that. You know what I'm saying?
Got it. Okay. But the thing I was saying, that was another one, was NEPA. So I was shocked, like, how regularly the power would go out. Like, where I stayed, like, with my husband, because I went to Nigeria 3 times last year. So whether I was before we got married, the house I stayed in, or after we got married, our house, we had generators. So it would go off for a little while and then come back on. But it was still, shocking, like, how often that happened. And he explained to me why that was,
I mean, let me just tell you, she didn't experience this one I'm talking about. I mean, in my place, there's a generator that fits the whole estate.
Oh, yeah.
And
so I didn't hear the noise.
Almost like 24 hours power because we don't use regular NEPA. I mean, whether NEPA or no NEPA, we always had light. So guess what? So when the light goes out, it will go out for like 30 seconds or 1 minute. For like, please help me type in the chat and tell her the real Nigeria. When, I mean, if it was like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I mean, I'm living in this place now and I deliberately moved to a place where I could, because I do a lot of studio work and I wanted light to be as consistent as possible. But in the typical Nigeria that I live in, that she did not really experience, is the one where the light will go out. God help you that your generator, when you are starting, the rope did not cut or something don't happen to your generator, you live in proper, you now go and look for lamp like or something candles. Or candles and stuff, and then the weather is quite hot. You now listen, we got used to sweating and sleeping.
That's more weight loss, sweating.
But this one is, you're not enjoying it. It's not like you're in the gym.
I'm just looking on the bright side.
There's no bright side in this one.
Okay.
Please, my Nigerian people. I lived this thing. I mean, I started from the scratch, from when you live in Face Me or Face You, where it was really, really crazy. Not everybody even had gen. Who had gen that time? It's all this Apasionable generator. You know what I mean by Apasionable generator? That's small ones that can only carry a few things in the house. And then everybody has their own one by one. You start it and some of them are making noise because that one cannot carry AC. We didn't even have AC. So we didn't even have ceiling fan. People just bought small fan so you'll be sleeping at night because we were like at some point like 4 of us in one room or 5 of us in one room. So somebody would just wake up and then quietly go to the fan and make it face only one place. And then you discover you're sweating more than you're supposed to because the fan is supposed to be going like this, boom, boom, and suddenly it's one place. The sweat and this you would have soaked, like you'd have soaked. We don't sleep with clothes on. You sleep on that part of the bed where you sleep if you get chance to get home early to sleep on a mattress. Because if you don't get home early, you sleep on the floor. And then if you sleep, you would have been soaked. That place would have been soaked. So both the smell of the sweat and everything, it was terrible. And then we went through all of this. And that one, if you don't even want to lose weight because that's not losing weight. That's stressing. And guess what? We survived it as Nigerians. Again, shout out to Nigerians.
Hey.
That is not...
Shout out to y'all.
Yo, listen, and we still get around the world and do it. That's why if you see Nigerians get out from Nigeria, go to anywhere, they do so well because they know what it is.
They know what it is to go through hard times.
My prayers for anybody watching right now is that wherever you are, God will help you go through a journey where it only gets better. Yeah. It only gets better. Like
and what you're going through is building character, is building your endurance.
Of course, you're getting stronger. Now, I've lived every one of those lives, from the scratch where I slept under the bridge, Shodi, to the spot where I was squatting with people, to the point where, you and somebody will go and get somewhere to stay, to the point where I stayed in incomplete buildings, where maybe just go and stay with my guys to the extreme. I've seen it all. I've gone through all of them, and I know what it means to go through all of them, but I also know what it means to believe God and work hard and work smart and be audacious about achieving what God has put in you to move you from one level to the other. But anyways, I just thought to just encourage somebody that if you're going through that.
Sharing his experiences with y'all from Nigeria.
If you're going through that, don't think that. Because some of us might think that, Tim Godfrey, look at you.
We're going to give you a full, because you have shared your testimony once.
Yeah, but that was just short.
Right. So we're going to give you an episode where you can actually share in depth your testimony, because it'll be very encouraging to people who are probably in some of the same situations you were in. Like you said, you slept under a bridge before. Like, people probably are in situations where it's not that bad, and that's encouraging for them. Like, okay, it could be worse. But God brought you through that.
So
all glory to God, and He can do it for you guys too. So we felt like this would be a fun episode, just sharing some of my culture shock when I went to one of my new homes, Nigeria.
When you went to the best country in the whole world,
Amen.
Nigeria for life.
Yeah. So next up, stay tuned. One of the next few episodes, not sure if it's going to be the very next episode, but my husband will be sharing his culture shock when he moved to the US.
I'm going to be saying a lot.
It was, and still is.
It still
an adjustment.
And I'm coming back home very, very soon to come and enjoy my Nigeria.
Me too.
No.
Yeah. I'm gonna convince him. Y'all help me convince him in the comments.
Yeah,
that he
but
should
this
let
Sunday,
us
baby.
come to Nigeria.
No, I'm trying to skip that conversation. Let's forget about it.
This Sunday.
This Sunday coming after.
It's Mother's Day.
So we'll have a special episode for you guys.
Yes, very special.
My wife has
Mother's
been
Day
stressing me about a particular thing, and it looks like
that's what we're gonna do. He'll be all right. So yes, guys, thank you for tuning in.
Rain
there
was
she
shouts.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Every episode,
She
Rain
was
makes herself known. So yes, thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Mr. and Mrs. Godfrey. We pray that you enjoyed yourself.
Before you wrap up, baby. Before you wrap up, if you've been to Nigeria, if you're an American, let us know what your experience.
Yeah, what was your experience like?
Do you have any culture
Let's
shock?
have story time in the comments.
Yeah, let us hear. And then if you're in Nigeria and you've moved to another country, let us know what it is for you. In case you're living in London or Spain or France or US, wherever you're living as Nigerians, let me know what your culture shock is. I have my own. I'm going to share my own later. Let's just put it in the comments and let's have some fun.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us for another video. We're taking you guys small, through our meeting and our relationship.
Small is the Nigerian accent.
We're taking you guys through our relationship. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on your post notifications, and share. Because other people can be blessed by this content as well.
That's my wife.